Itch it up, my selector.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
I know you gonna dig this.
Yeah. 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 Chrome hearts at the Caesar's Palace. I was a sneaker savage, undefeated baggage. K-bar, you can be established. A 230s, that's 69s. You can eat a salad while you feed a phallus. I speak in palettes that compete with graphics. At the speed of cheetah gallops at indecent average. Chopsticks when I be eating Garrett's. Philippe receipt embarrassed, you can't see the marriage. That's why I started this in Vegas. Proposed to my toast, Neo's married to the Matrix. But I hate this bitch like I'm married to a racist. An addict, so the kilos get buried in the basements. Speed the wagon like Rio's, vicarious, vivacious. Patois, noir, but the Creole is basic. So when I'm around them Haitians, I don't even say shit. Last album sounded like I was signed to a spaceship. Brain was on drugs and my eyes was on LASIK. And the shit got legs, I don't think that I can chase it with rocket powered A6, but the next one's coming with cases and witness protection facelifts. For the fans, why hit them with kabams when the germaphobe jab can wash a nigga with hands? I am not in my feelings, I'm in my glands. I am not no bitch, I'm in a trance. Pandemic gimmicks got niggas all in the scams. Panhandling brilliance put lyrics all in their hands. Alan Watts got Watts living without a plan. But I want the smokes while the kitchen ain't got no fans. L.
And hello, I'm back. It is Maestro, and I'm back for special punchlines. And shout out, first of all, to Blood Boxing, because Blood Boxing actually put me onto this story. I actually heard about it from watching his channel, and he did a great job of kind of breaking down Leonard Ellerbe and what Leonard Ellerbe was saying. And Leonard Ellerbe has been talking reckless about Eddie Hearn. So shout out to Blood Boxing. Blood Boxing's the one who brought this one to my attention. And I was actually going to speak on this yesterday, but then I decided yesterday to talk a little bit about Tank Davis having to leave Mayweather Promotions, why he should be leaving Mayweather Promotions. And boy, am I glad that I didn't talk about this yesterday, because today, as I was going through my regular day, I came across a bunch of videos courtesy of a bunch of outlets that I follow, that I'm sure a lot of you follow. IFL TV, Boxing Social, and of course, the Boxing Voice. Shout out to Nestor Gibbs. All three of those channels put up interviews with none other than Eddie Hearn himself. All right. And I got to tell you, man, one, Leonard Ellerbe kind of comes off real funny to me. I was talking to Kenny before I went live, and he was actually giving me a good perspective in terms of how to, read this situation, how to present this situation. All right. And look, let's just get right into it. All right. I'm going to share, first of all, the interview with Brian Custer. All right. Brian Custer from Showtime Sports got an exclusive interview with Leonard Ellerbe. And like I said, Leonard Ellerbe said a bunch of stuff that I find to be pretty funny, but let's have a listen and we'll talk about it. All right, so right off the jump, I love how Brian Custer, when he's doing these interviews, will bring up the hot topics, right? Oh, shoot, you guys are saying you can't hear. Okay, hold up. I got to bring that back and make sure that I have it lined up so you guys can all hear it. Hold up. Let me remove it and bring it back. And we'll get it working right now for all of you. Hold on. All right. Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. It is a live show, but I'm going to definitely have the audio ready for all of you right now. Just give me 1 second while I line this up. All right, so as I was saying as I line this up, is that Leonard Ellerbe was being interviewed by Brian Custer, and Brian Custer, to me, does a tremendous job of asking kind of the hot button questions, but doing it in like a very friendly kind of way that's very kind of non-assuming and kind of lowers, all right, the defense of the people he's interviewed. And he did it too with Tank Davis, where he actually hold on. Kenny and Abo, can you guys not hear me at all? That's weird. Oh, I messed up. over here. All right, let me know if you can hear me now. Let me know if you can hear me now. Oh, not the video. All right, well, you can hear me fine. All right, so let's get back into it. All right, let's go. Hold on. And thank you for my chat. Thank you for my people for helping me out with this. I guarantee that it should work. Actually, I shouldn't guarantee, but we'll see. Let's start that back. Here we go.
What did you think when Eddie Hearn came out and said, I'm open to signing Tank Davis, and I'll overpay for him just to get under Leonard Ellerbe's skin?
So, like I said, he presented in a very friendly manner. All right, very friendly manner. Gets his interviewer or interviewee, I should say, to drop their guard a little bit. He did it to Tank Davis. He asked him a question about being on the Mayweather protection plan. I got to give it up to Brian Custer because he does ask kind of the tough questions, but he does it in a very kind of friendly, cordial way that gets people kind of, like I said, to lower the defenses. And let's hear what Mr. Ellerbe has to say.
Well, I think it's been no secret that my opinion of him, I think he's the biggest fucking clown in all of boxing. And I have a very, very good reason why I say that. You know, here it is, a guy that.
All right. So first off, I can't agree with that at all. Eddie Hearn, in my eyes, if he's not the best promoter in the game, you could maybe argue Bob Arum is. He's definitely one of the two best promoters in the game. He's doing great things in boxing. You may not like everything he does, but he does bring us a lot of fights. He's making a lot of big fights. And yeah, he does make me laugh, but I wouldn't go as far as to call him a clown. Tyson Fury, you could maybe call him a clown. He does a lot of funny stuff. Rolly, I mean, they both do it to good success. But let's have a listen.
Has openly told the entire world that he was coming to America to take over boxing. Okay, let's leave that right there. He's coming to America to take over boxing. And he had a budget of well over $1 billion. I repeat, $1 billion. And what he has done is come over to the United States and didn't know the first thing about the marketplace at all. And excuse me for cursing again.
No problem.
And he's fucked off over $1 billion. And there's nothing to show for it.
I mean, you cannot say that that's factual. I don't know if he got well over $1 billion, but let's just say he did. Add up all of the cards, or add up all of the purses, add up all of the money that's been paid to fighters. Come on, it's not coming close, not even close to $1 billion. Not even close. So that's definitely not correct.
Nothing other than what I am happy though for the fighters who got paid, who got paid a lot of money. I'm very happy about that. But as far as a businessman, just think about this for a second. If he was an NBA general manager and he was given a budget, because obviously everyone has a salary cap to build teams, what do you think would happen? You've spent all this money and you haven't developed a franchise, a winning franchise.
Devin Haney, winning franchise. Anthony Joshua's been fighting on the zone, although he's lost a couple times, obviously against Ruiz and against Usyk, but He's a huge player in the sport. All right. Canelo Alvarez, big time guy. All right. All of these dudes are people that Eddie Hearn's been doing business with, not to mention people like Gennady Golovkin. All right. Not to mention people like Dimitri Bivol most recently.
You would get fired the same way in the NFL. You know, you be a NFL GM, you have a budget. Yeah. You know, you have a salary cap. You got to be within that, and you expect to bring in the best players because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And that's he's one thing he's really good at with promoting. He's really done a good job with the women. He's done
women boxing.
Yeah, I give him credit where credit is due. But as far as the American market, he knows nothing about it because he doesn't have anything to show for it. And when you look at the Zone USA, it's been a failure, and it's been well documented. That's not only my opinion; those are facts. Yeah. You know, and he speaks on things.
That's definitely an opinion and not a fact. I subscribe to DAZN. Most boxing fans I know subscribe to DAZN. My biggest complaint about DAZN so far, since the business was started in terms of boxing here in the United States, North America, whatever you want to say, is that the most recent fight that they put on, or big fight, the Canelo fight, was on pay-per-view. I didn't like that. But, I mean, DAZN, from my eyes as a boxing consumer, and I'm going to try to be impartial on this, I think it's a good product, personally. If anybody here disagrees, feel free. I see that Tony's also mentioning Conor Benn as a top guy. Well, Leonard Ellerbe would probably say, well, he's from the UK. He doesn't count. But, yeah, I mean, they've developed their business, and I think they've been doing a decent job. And let's continue and see what else.
Because what it is that he's a very jealous guy. He's a very jealous guy. And what it is that, you know, he thought that he was going to.
I love Brian Custer's reaction to that. You see, a lot of other people who are interviewing, who would do an interview like this, or who would get access to a guy like Leonard Ellerbe, would say, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, he is a little bit jealous. He's a jealous guy. Yeah, you're right about that, Leonard. But Brian Custer doesn't give him that. He pretty much maintains a professional mannerism, looking at him, letting him speak, and he continues.
Be able to come over here because he got the big checkbook and just, but it's a method to this. We understand, myself, Al Heyman, and Floyd Mayweather, we understand what this marketplace is. When you look at Mayweather Promotions, we hold all the records for the biggest pay-per-views in the history of the sport, the biggest live gates in the history of the sport. So that should tell you everything what you need to know.
Yeah.
Now, what I'd like to do is dissect that for a second, because he talks about Mayweather Promotions. Well, in a lot of those promotions, number one, Mayweather wasn't the lead promoter, but I kind of look at Mayweather Promotions the way I kind of looked at major record labels when I was growing up. And I'll give you an example right now, right? So you had Interscope, right? Jimmy Iovine. Under Interscope, you had Aftermath, Dr. Dre. Under Aftermath, you had Shady Records, which was Eminem. In this comparison, Al Heyman is Jimmy Iovine of Interscope Records, right? The boutique label is Mayweather Promotions, which is under Al Heyman. And under the boutique label, under the Aftermath, you have Leonard Ellerbe and Mayweather Promotions. And by the way, Leonard Ellerbe, again, works for Floyd, who essentially has a boutique promotional outfit that works with the big dog, who's actually Al Heyman. So none of this is factually correct, and we're going to continue here.
Talking about Eddie Hearn, he said, quote, "Why are we the biggest global promotional company in the world, bar none? Leonard Ellerbe, not even relevant, actually in the boxing industry. When you talk about top promoters in the world, do you even mention Leonard Ellerbe? Let's be honest, not in a million years, but you're going to mention Eddie Hearn."
Well,
I love the fact that Brian Custer brought that question to him. because a lot of people wouldn't bring that question to him. Again, shout out to Kenny, K.O. Kenny, because he actually brought my attention to a question that was put to Leonard Ellerbe, which was, listen, Leonard, you're so good, you're so great, you're amazing. And it's like, where's the question? Oh, how are you so great? How are you so good? How are you so amazing? In this case, Custer's just bringing it right to him. He opened it up, little softball question. Again, got him to lower his guard, right? Throwing a few light jabs, you know, and making him feel comfortable. And then he's coming in with the power shots right now.
Because he's the loudest, he has the loudest mouth. You know, he wants
a promoter is supposed to have a loud mouth
to be bigger than the fighters, and that's a fact. I mean, Bob will tell you that.
Look, that's just false. When you see him promoting Canelo Alvarez, he's not trying to juke and jive in front of Canelo and take the shine away from Canelo. When you see Eddie Hearn promoting Anthony Joshua or even Conor Ben, he puts them in the forefront. He absolutely puts them in the forefront. So again, I'm not really buying this personally.
Lou DiBella will tell you that any of the excellent promoters, the guys.
So all of Eddie's competitors will essentially shit on Hearn as well, is what he's saying. I wonder what all of these dudes would think about Leonard Ellerbe though, because he's not actually answering the question. The question is, what do you got to say about the fact that he says you're a nobody promoter? Nobody mentions you amongst the greats in the promoting game. Nobody mentions you. Nobody takes you seriously, right? But he's the biggest global brand, and his only answer was, wow, you know, he's got a big mouth. He's supposed to have a big mouth. He's a promoter. All right, I grew up in the Don King era with Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis and all of those guys, and nonstop it was only in America.
Well, here they'll tell you that. You know, he's just a loudmouth because it's about whoever talked the loudest. And again, you can't come over to the United States thinking you going to be loud, and that don't get you nowhere. You got to understand what the marketplace looks like. When you're signing fighters, you got to understand, okay, who are you going to match them up with? You don't have no access to any of the fighters, the top fighters that are out there. You have a bunch of very good fighters, but at the end of the day, who are they going to fight? Yeah. You haven't made no big fights yet. And as it relates to his knowledge of understanding how to,
he hasn't made any big fights yet. So Dallas Cowboys Stadium, Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo Alvarez, unification fight during a pandemic, over 70 grand. Seems like a pretty big fight to me. So Bam Bam Bino Boxing, love the name, by the way, brethren. All right, first time I've seen you drop a comment. Name one fighter other than Joshua that Eddie built from the ground up. I can name you one right now, Conor Ben. Who name a fighter other than Tank Davis that Mayweather Promotions has brought up that's been successful? It's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, there's really not anything there. If you look at their roster, and by the way, I showed it yesterday on this channel, I'll do it again today. It is a paper-thin roster. Tony's also mentioning Joshua Buatsi. That's a big one. I got another one for you. Katie Taylor. All right. Let's not act like he hasn't developed fighters from the ground up. He absolutely has. But we shall continue. So the argument that he hasn't been involved in big fights, the argument that he hasn't brought up any fighters from the ground up, but let's go.
Match fights. Look what he did to Anthony Joshua. You know, I feel really bad. Joshua's a nice young man, and I think he's a terrific fighter. But here it is. There's no promoter that would put their fighter, as big as Anthony Joshua is overseas, put him in with Andy Ruiz in 3 weeks' notice. Who does that? You know, you completely have.
Well, first of all, this is like revisionist history, Monday morning quarterbacking. Anthony Joshua was a huge favorite against Andy Ruiz. Okay. And by the way, last time I checked, they tried to get Luis Ortiz up in there. All right. The idea was to have Big Baby Miller, but he popped for multiple steroids. All right. So, yeah, they were looking for a big name opponent because Joshua didn't want to, not even a big name, but a respectable opponent because Joshua didn't want to waste his entire training camp. All right. They didn't want to waste all of the investment in investing in a big fight here in New York City at the Madison Square Garden. All right. So, I mean, again, it wasn't seen as a bad move until AJ lost. All right. But it's heavyweight boxing. I mean, you could make it a case that, Lewis deciding to fight Rahman in South Africa was a bad move because he lost, right? Or Lewis taking on, damn, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I can't believe I can't remember. All of them McCall was a bad move. All right, but guess what? Heavyweight boxing, knockouts happen.
Excuse my friends, fucked up Anthony Joshua's career. You kind of done the same thing with.
Fucked it up. I mean, the fight after the Joshua fight at the Garden was Joshua's biggest payday in Saudi Arabia. The Battle in the Dunes or whatever they called it. Huge payday for Joshua. And he won the comeback fight.
Canelo, and this is why. Because when you look at Canelo, and if we're honest, when you look at Canelo was a much bigger fighter than he was when he signed to that app that nobody watches. His numbers have gone down drastically. If you look at his last pay-per-view fight just recently with Bivol, it was trash. Mm-hmm. Alvarez and Plant just did between 750 and 800,000. Mm-hmm. They did like a third of that, almost a third, a little over 300,000. You look at the live gate.
Well, I heard the number was a lot bigger than 300,000, number one. But number two, the economics of putting on a pay-per-view on a streaming platform are totally different than putting it out solely on cable and digital platforms like that because you control the distribution. Not only that, in addition to the pay-per-view fees, they also gained new subscribers. And in addition to the pay-per-view fees, subscribers like me, all right, we're already paying a yearly fee towards this. So what's interesting to me so far, and we're not even at the part that's hilarious so far, is that it's actually nonstop lies. All right. It's pretty much nonstop lies because all of the arguments he's making are pretty much false.
They did 18 million with Plant. This gate right here wasn't even $9 million. And it's just an example of that Canelo's popularity has gone down drastically because, again, he signed to an app that nobody watches. So
his popularity has gone down, but at the same time, prior to him taking on Bivol, they were trying to get him to fight Benavidez or Charlo. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Johnny Gaffer's got. Well, let me get to a couple of people because Bam Bam Bino Boxing, again, great name. He says, "I like you, Maestro. You just capping right now." I'm not capping. I'm wearing a cap, but I'm definitely not capping. I'm just reacting to what I'm seeing right now in this video. And what I'm seeing right now is a lot of stuff that doesn't really make sense. All right. And then we got Johnny Gaffer. He says, Maestro, what's the general reception of Ellerbe in the U.S.? The general reception of Ellerbe in the U.S., I mean, there is no reception. Pretty much. I mean, the only time I see receptions to Ellerbe, quite frankly, are when he's giving interviews like this, especially when he's talking about Eddie Hearn. Because, again, other than Tank Davis, what are the fighters that he's really promoting? That's a question, right? And the people that think I'm capping, I mean, I'm hearing crickets right now, but please give me some names. Because the other name, all right, that people might have been able to mention, all right, what, Badu Jack? I mean, Badu Jack hasn't been in a meaningful fight in a while. So let me get to the super chat from Virtuoso. All right, Virtuoso said Leonard Ellerbe peddles enough cap to put New Cara out of business. Absolutely. Absolutely.
The fighters over there, they they're not getting the visibility that they deserve. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody watches the zone. Nobody watches the zone. And he was the same guy that said pay-per-view was dead. And
so I don't watch the zone, I guess. You know, the members of my channel don't watch the zone. The subs on my channel don't watch the zone. The people I collaborate with on YouTube don't watch the zone. All of the people that have essentially been watching Canelo fights over the years don't watch the zone. AJ fights here in the US as well. I guess we don't watch the zone. I mean, it's just not factual. It's not factual at all. So I'm waiting for the people in the chat that have been asking or saying that I'm capping and who is Eddie developed from the ground up? What other stars does he work with other than Canelo? I asked the question, what other stars is Ellerbe working with other than Tank? And this is what I'm seeing. I mean, I hope you're not running away from the question.
And spend a bunch of money on all these slogans. And it's just, again, he's a clown. And everyone knows that. That's why you just laugh. And I'm not going to go back and forth with him because he know what time of day it is.
When did the beef start? Do you recall what was the?
He know what it is. He and it's something very personal. And I gave him a phone call. I gave him a phone call a while ago. He know what time of day it is. And it's just that, again, again, I don't want to go back into all of that because, again, I try to be as professional as I possibly can. But that's the one guy.
This is the part that's got me laughing. All right, because he says Eddie knows what time it is. All right, he's gonna try to keep it professional, but then let's go.
Yeah, I can honestly say that if I had the opportunity, I stomp him out.
Wow.
He'd stomp him out. All right, here we go. The man wearing all of this expensive clothing. He's got the stunner shades on. He's presenting himself as like a Mr. Corporation type of guy, speaking to another corporate dude right here, talking about a guy that's also a businessman. And, I'm still trying to figure it out, yo, because we just went from you're the savant promoter, you're the best in the business. Everybody from Lou DiBella to Top Rank will vouch for you. And then it's resorted to you're going to stomp the man out. Look, come on. I hope you guys in the chat that were talking rash to me not that long ago are not running from this. All right. I really don't. All right. So what we got here? We got off the ropes. It is fair to say Floyd has something to do with Tank's fan base and not Ellerbe. Pretty much. I mean, up until recently, Floyd was like front of the picture with Ellerbe. I mean, with Tank. And Ellerbe was like the guy behind Floyd. But Floyd started to do these fights out in the Middle East and hasn't been around to really promote Tank. And now Ellerbe's filled in that gap. But let's not get it twisted. All right. Interscope Records is Al Heyman. Jimmy Iovine's Al Heyman. Dr. Dre, under him with Aftermath, that's Mayweather Promotions. All right. And under that is whatever it is that Mr. Ellerbe does.
That if I had the opportunity, I stomp him out.
Wow.
If he had the opportunity, he'd stomp him out. All right. So look, that was pretty interesting to me because I remember hearing an interview. Shout out to Nestor Gibbs at the Boxing Voice. He had Bill Haney on.
Disappointed in everyone.
Oops, I saw someone load up over here. Yeah, Bill Haney on. And Bill Haney was like, listen, man, there's no real space for that kind of talk if you're trying to be professional. Now, if you have a street beef with somebody that you got to sort out in the streets, that's one thing. But, I mean, look, all of these people have been calling for Eddie Hearn to fight Leonard Ellerbe. I don't see that happening. All right. I don't see Eddie Hearn doing that. I think that would be a very bad look for Eddie Hearn. I also think, honestly, it would be a bad look for Ellerbe because real talk, I don't know if Ellerbe wins that fight. If they actually were to fight, I don't think Ellerbe would win. I don't know. Actually, I'll just straight up say it. I don't think he'd win that fight. I just off of a fight. I've seen some sparring footage with Eddie Hearn. He seems to be able to move around the ring a little bit. But also, if I'm Eddie Hearn and we're actually going to set up a fight between Mayweather Promotions and Eddie Hearn, why are we sending Eddie Hearn over? Why aren't we sending Frank Smith or the guy that works for Frank Smith? Why would Eddie get into the ring with a guy that takes orders from Floyd Mayweather Jr., who takes orders from Al Heyman? I mean, at the end of the day, it's Eddie Hearn. Let me make sure I'm in view of the camera. It's Eddie Hearn and Al Heyman. It ain't even Eddie Hearn and Floyd as promoters. And it's definitely not Leonard Ellerbe. Let's just keep it real. Let's just keep it real. All right? Eddie and Al Heyman are the two that got to line up business-wise. Eddie's not even lining up with Floyd, and definitely not with Leonard Ellerbe. I mean, that's just a fact. All right? Regardless of who you think is going to win a fight between those two, that one there is just a fact. It just is. So I'm going to bring up one of the responses, though, that Eddie Hearn made this morning that I found was pretty funny.
Charlie Parsons, a boxing voice.
It was a boxing voice over here. Shout out to Nestor Gibbs. This must be Nestor's UK correspondent who scored this interview. All right, and I'm going to play it over here. Shout out to the boxing voice. They're the one who came with this content. Here we go.
Had done a thing with Showtime.
Saw it. It's great.
I think he said that if he saw you first week, I don't think anyone's picked up on this, but he said he wants to stomp you out.
Bit violent, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's he's threatening me, and I will just say I'm so scared. No, but seriously, like.
I mean, when he says that Eddie Hearn is a clown, I'll give him this. There's nobody in boxing that makes me laugh more than Eddie Hearn. His interviews are like reality TV for me. I mean, my wife watches a lot of reality TV. She watches the housewife shows. This is me seeing Eddie Hearn in the interviews is equivalent to that. It's pure entertainment, pure comedy. I'm going to run that back real quick.
I don't think anyone's picked up on this, but he said he wants to stomp you out.
Bit violent, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's he's threatening me, and I will just say I'm so scared. No, but seriously, like he says, I want to keep it professional, but I want to stomp him out. I don't want to talk about Eddie Hearn, but let me just do this 7-minute segment for Showtime. I mean, how good was that for me? 7 minutes on Showtime talking about Eddie Hearn. But I don't think me and Leonard are ever going to get on with it. He said that I know what it's about. I actually don't. But he's welcome.
Eddie doesn't know what it's about. I don't know what it's about. I mean, I can guess what it's about. My guess is that it's a little bit of jealousy. I sense that there's a little bit of projection happening when he said that he feels that Eddie Hearn is jealous. I don't really see what Eddie Hearn's got to be jealous about. I mean, Matchroom is literally the biggest promoter in the game. All right, Top Rank is up there too, especially now that they ventured out to Australia for this Gambosis fight. Top Rank has been coming with the heat, that's for sure. Mayweather Promotions, absolutely not. Mayweather Promotions literally waits for a fight featuring Tank Davis to be relevant. I mean, and how many times does Tank Davis fight a year? So, no, I can't agree with that. Absolutely not.
Welcome to call me or meet me. It's not a problem, and we can have a chat and see where the land was.
Tank, free agency, I mean...
Well, they say that, but I actually, I got a letter from Mayweather Promotions telling me to stop talking about him and whatever because he's under contract to Mayweather Promotions. So if he is, so be it. How long he is for, I don't know, but we would never interfere with a fighter on this.
So this is the other thing, and this is kind of what I was talking about with Kenny before I went live. On the one hand, Ellerbe is trying to act like he's a street dude that, you know, needs to resort to stomping people out to resolve business conflicts while wearing a suit and expensive clothes and stunner shades, by the way. But at the same time, it's like he's sending legal letters. Which is it? Are you going to settle your disputes in the court of law, or are you going to settle your disputes in the streets? I mean, it's like me going out here right by Yankee Stadium where I live in the South Bronx, and I threaten a dude in the streets. I'm like, yo, if you don't come correct, I'm going to fuck you up. I'm going to stomp you out. And the next thing you know, I'm sending him a legal letter saying, hey, ease up on trying to do business with one of my clients, or we're going to have to sort this out in the court of law. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
The contract, and if the opportunity comes available, of course, we'll be very aggressive with an offer for Gervonta Davis. But if he's under contract, obviously we don't want to have those conversations.
Your thoughts on the performance against Rolly Romero?
Gervonta's a great fighter. I've been a fan for a long time. You see him filling up those arenas. He's a great fighter.
So there you go. And then he goes on to give credit to Tank Davis. By the way, a guy that he says he's trying to sign. I mean, to me, Eddie, the way that Eddie handled that was A+. All right. He mocked him. He joked about it. And then he brought up the fact that, this dude's acting like he's going to do this and that to me in the streets, but then he's sending me legal letters. I'm sorry. I mean, I cannot do anything but laugh. And at the end of the day, I mean, that was a fail by Leonard Ellerbe. I'm sorry. That was a fail by Leonard Ellerbe. All right. And if I'm Eddie Hearn, I'm asking this.
Undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Who next?
Who next? All right. Well, I just bodied Ellerbe. Who else you got for me? Who else are you gonna bring out? You gonna have Floyd do some videos about me now? I don't know, because after Ellerbe,
undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Who next?
Eddie Hearn literally just came across to me as the undisputed heavyweight champion of promoting. Before that video, and then he retained the title. He retained the title. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you got to understand, if you're going to go at Eddie and you're going to play his game of going back and forth with these interviews, Eddie's a hilarious guy. Eddie's got jokes, but also Eddie's got facts. And he's also got that kind of British humor that hits you where it hurts. He does. All right. So, I mean, that really didn't make much sense to me at all. That was just the one off the boxing voice. There was a couple others too that were just as savage. So Ricky Ricardo says TMT Promotions is simply an extension of Uncle Al's PBC promotions of 20 fighters, with Tank being the only semi-boxing star. I agree. All right, I'm Dwayne this time says street guys don't send legal letters. Absolutely not. I mean, if you look, I'm just going to put it as simple as I can. If you are threatening to stomp somebody out, you're coming off as a clown if you're doing that while also sending legal letters. I'm sorry. You got to pick a lane. All right. So Dewey Jones Jr. said DAZN is banned for boxing in the grand scheme. I don't really know if that's true, because personally, when it comes to the subscription-based service, I think it's actually a good thing. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the PBC. I have been for a long time. I'm just not a fan of Mayweather Promotions, but there's a lot of fighters that are fighting for the PBC that I like a lot. Not only the older guys like Errol Spence Jr., not that he's that old, but you guys know what I mean. All right. You got the guys like Errol Spence Jr., but you also got the younger guys coming up, all right, that I also think are great. Guys like David Morrell Jr., who's going to be fighting this Saturday on the undercard of another young gun, Stephen Fulton. All right. You also got guys like David Benavidez and others. All right. Sebastian Fundora. I love what the PBC does. I love a lot of the fighters in their stable. And if they went to a subscription-based model, I would 100% be with that. I would absolutely subscribe. I would probably pay between $100 and $200 a year if they offered it to get everything, all you can eat buffet at PBC, no pay-per-view. I would love that if they did it. Okay, but they don't do it. All right, they don't do it, and they continuously line up pay-per-view after pay-per-view. And let me put this into perspective. And by the way, this isn't just the PBC. This is specifically Mayweather Promotions as well that I'm kind of being extra critical of. But First pay-per-view of the year for PBC was what? Charles Martin, Luis Ortiz. Last pay-per-view, if you want to call it a PBC card, I don't know, is it Mayweather Promotions or is it PBC? All right, but the last pay-per-view was literally Tank Davis versus Rolly for $75. Sell me that in a subscription package. I'm not complaining. All right, if they could do it the way the Zone has decided to present shit, this is why I said it before. When it comes to the Zone, the one thing I do complain about is the fact that they went to pay-per-view for the Canelo fight. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. All right, I didn't like that they went to pay-per-view for the last fight. That's for sure. All right, but everything else, I mean, oh, Tony, I forgot that one. We also had the Thurman fight on pay-per-view. I mean, come on now. All right, so Dewey Jones says, I'd say the network and suits at the Zone are short-sighted where Top Rank and PBC know how to keep boxing thriving. Again, PBC, they're doing a lot of good stuff. All right, Top Rank, definitely doing a lot of good stuff. We got a big fight this weekend. They signed Devin Haney, 3-fight deal. You got George Gambosis Jr. Co-promoted by Top Rank now. All right, it's an international fight. It's a super fight. I got nothing but bad. I have nothing bad to say about what they're doing at all. But Mayweather Promotions is something else. Mayweather Promotions is something else. And look, I did this yesterday. I'll do it again. We real time here. We had some technical issues at the beginning. This is a live show at the end of the day. But all of the people that think that Mayweather Promotions is doing a great bit of boxing business, right? Or that not even Floyd, but Leonard Ellerbe is this great promoter on the level of Eddie Hearn. I mean, look, I'm going to go up and down their roster right now. You got one fighter at 112. You got one, and it's a female. Not that I'm knocking the females, but they don't have any male fighters at 112 or below. All right, so that's all right. 122 pounds, one fighter. 126 pounds, one fighter. 130 pounds, one fighter. 135 pounds, Tank's division. 4 fighters, including Rolando Romero and Tank Davis. 140 pounds. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fighters. Yes, 6 fighters. All right, we got welterweights. Come on, this is the glamour division, the welterweight division. What we got here? We got Jaleel Major Hackett and Rakimov. 154, 2 fighters. 160, 0 fighters. 175, 0 fighters. 200 pounds cruiserweight division, we got what? 1 fighter. Heavyweight division, 0 fighters. Excuse me? All right, look, all of the people that were bigging up Mayweather Promotions, again, please don't. I hope you're still around right now to talk about this, all right? Because I was seeing it early in the chat. Maestro's capping. How's Maestro capping? How am I capping? All right, you got PBC, Al Heyman on the level with Eddie Hearn. Then you got Mayweather, who's nowhere near that level at all. All right, at all. All right, and then below Mayweather himself, you got Leonard Ellerbe. You know what? I mean, there's really nothing more to say. There's really nothing more to say. 0 heavyweight fighters, 0 light heavyweight fighters, 0 fighters at 168, 0 fighters at 160, and just a sprinkling of fighters in the other divisions. Come on now, yo. Come on now. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And look, if anybody has anything they want to say, links in the chat. I'm not ducking the smoke. Not ducking it at all. Might as well also open up the phone lines in case anyone wants to chime in. I'm going to be here for a few more minutes. before I head across the street and go to the Yankees game. I'm not even a big Yankees fan. I like the Mets. I'm actually not a Yankees fan at all. I like the Mets. But I do have free tickets today, so might as well just go across the street for a couple innings and enjoy a little bit of baseball. All right, because just like those baseball players knock it out of the park, I just knocked it out of the park just now comparing Ellerbe and showing how he's what? A businessman that stomps people out and sends legal letters, and a guy who's second in command at best of a promotional outfit that's really not doing that much. Here we go. We got Tony. Tony, my brethren, how's it going, fam?
Yeah, my brother, how you doing? I'm very well over here in the United Kingdom.
There you go.
I gotta say, brother, you've preached absolutely almost everything correctly. Leonard Ellerbe is an embarrassment to the sport. He is a complete, utter jackass. To say the things that he has said, knowing that he's factually incorrect, you know, this guy is an asshole. You know, the fact that he's the head of TMT Promotions. He's not the head of PBC, as you said. You know, if you want to compare like for like Eddie Hearns against another major player in the sport of boxing, you would have to, at the very least, present Al Heyman.
Al Heyman.
You cannot present Leonard Ellerbe in a competition of who's got all the marbles in the sport of boxing. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
And Tony, you were noticing some of these just false assertions, like he's never been involved in big fights in the U.S. What was Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano sold out at Madison Square Garden?
Unbelievable. Sold more seats in New York than his cash cow sold 2 weeks, 3 weeks following.
Yeah, look, I'm here in New York City. Tank Davis fought at the Barclays. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano fought at MSG. Barclays is not MSG.
In the main hall. In the main
hall. Barclays does not have the size of MSG, and nor does it have the prestigious, you know, aura of MSG. Right? And guess what? It was a bigger fight.
It was absolutely
viewed by more people and live and on television.
It's absolutely ridiculous. But what I wanted to come on and talk about was, let's not forget, this is Ellerbe who screwed up with Adrian Broner. Now, I'm not condoning that Broner is some kind of messiah in the game of boxing. But clearly, that relationship went south. Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what Rolly Romero reminds me of.
What's that?
Do you remember when Ashley Theophane, TMT boxer, fought Adrian Broner?
I mean, they served them up to Adrian Broner.
That was Rolly versus Tank. They served Rolly up to Tank.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you're actually a good promoter, right, and you're actually trying to develop a kid that started boxing at the age of 17, and by all accounts is a 14-fight novice, why would you serve him up to Tank Davis?
Makes no sense. And I know it's a high-profile fight, but that makes no sense.
But here's the hilarious part about it, right? He's going off on Eddie Hearn for talking about how Eddie fucked up by having Ruiz fight Joshua at the Garden, right? I mean, you just said it. I mean, he served up Rolly on a silver platter for Tank.
It's a joke. Ellerbe is a complete, utter joke. He's a disgrace of a promoter. You know, his track record is the luckiest man alive in the world of boxing, because the fact that he had Floyd Mayweather in his charge for so many years, who couldn't manage Floyd Mayweather? Who couldn't?
Well, I don't even know if he was managing him. He was like holding his feet down when he was doing sit-ups.
Of course. And this was the thing. I mean, he's holding down a conglomerate, but let's be honest, Floyd calls the shots.
100%.
And when we're talking about Floyd Mayweather and promotion, well, I'm sorry, but you've named the fighters in his team, in his camp. You know, he's other than Tank Davis, nobody else is worth talking about. Jalen Love never really got himself anywhere. Badu Jack never really got anywhere. And now you're rolling out Rolly. You know, you had Ashley Theophane. You messed up Broner. You had a chance with Devin, but you didn't make that deal. You had a chance. You know, look how many people have walked into that gym. And you can't convince nobody other than Tank Davis to say, okay, I'll sign a deal with you.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, he's done, you know, Tank Davis is an awesome fighter.
Bro, this is what Tank Davis needs to do. I mean, he needs to leave Mayweather Promotions. Tony, you saw when I showed their roster, right?
Yeah.
What business does he have signing to that outfit?
If
he's a serious star in the sport of boxing, why would you sign to that promotional outfit?
I mean, the thing is, yeah, Tank is still making money. Tank is undoubtedly the cash cow now at Mayweather Promotions.
He's the only bull at Mayweather Promotions.
He is the only one.
But
let's not underplay that. That's the significance of that, because there are several other promoters who have a single cash cow. Yeah. But the point is, you could do so much better, and you would. What Tank needs to do is stop getting these cherry picks. We need to stop seeing Tank getting cherry picks like Rolly Romero.
But it goes hand in hand with the lack of depth of their roster, though, Tony.
Yeah. But
I mean,
this is I put this.
I picked the offer up for him, and at the end of the day, I'll tell you this much: you say that he's making good money. Why would he make any less money being with Matchroom or with ESPN?
Well, this is the point. I mean, he would make as much money, but the thing is, you have to look at what Matchroom will do. They will allow a fighter, aka like a Devin Haney, to say, you know what? If you need to make a deal, go make a deal. Because Devin Haney is doing the right thing by saying, you know what? I had to make a deal with Top Rank in order to get this Kambosos fight. I've had to sign over a 2-fight thing, and I'm gonna do that. Look at Dillian White. Dillian White had to relinquish his deal with, and you know, he's got a certain relationship going on with Matchroom, but he said, I will take this fight with Tyson Fury. You know, this is the kind of business that is required in the game of boxing, because we want to see the biggest fights. And let's be honest, I'd rather see Devin Haney Kambosos than Tank Rolly 1,000,000 times a year, every day.
100%. I mean, that's not even a question.
Right.
And here's the thing. More proof. Alicia Baumgartner, she just signed a deal with DAZN.
Yeah.
She's going to be fighting Michaela
Mayer
on an ESPN Top Rank show. Right? I mean, so when there aren't people that they can fight within the Matchroom stable, Eddie's got a track record of making global deals with other promoters, right? We saw it with Devin Haney going his way with Top Rank, and we're seeing it right now with Baumgartner, right? And I'm sure there were other instances of this that don't come to mind just off the top of my head.
Dillian White.
100. Oh, yeah, Dillian White, 100%. Right? So, man, it just makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. But big up to Brian Custer actually for getting it out of him, because, like I said, it's pure comedy, man. But what I've noticed even here in the chat is there's still guys that want to act like, you know, this is some kind of like legit promotional company. and like I'm just hating. I mean, when you throw yourself out like that as the big cheese, when you're not the big cheese, right? You're talking about stomping people out, right? Taking it to the streets, but at the same time, sending legal letters. Have you heard of anything this stupid?
It's crazy. And you're absolutely right, brother. I'm gonna bet on Eddie Hearn in that battle all day, both legally and in the street.
100% legally and in the street. Eddie, I've stood next to Eddie Hearn. I'm 6'4". He's a little taller than me.
He's a big, and he can move around. I've seen Eddie sparring, and I know he's I'm not saying he's a great boxer, but let's be honest, Leonard Ellerbe's a fat fucker.
100%, right? And I mean, he seems more interested in his fashions and his suits than in actually, taking care of himself from a physical standpoint. And I'm not trying to hate on the dude, but at the end of the day, you're putting yourself out there for these comments when you're talking about fighting people. I mean, you walk down the street and you see Leonard Ellerbe, you're not doing this. You're not afraid of that. You know what I mean? And by the way, I mean, I'm not afraid of it from, like you just said, from a business perspective either in the courts. I mean, Tank is the one who said that his contract is up, right? So if a fighter says his contract is up, why can't other promoters reach out to his people and see, what kind of deal he's looking for? That makes sense to me.
Absolutely. What, Eddie is making all the right noises. He's telling Tank, listen, if there's an opportunity for me to come and get you and do something good with you, I'm there for you, kid.
Yeah.
What he is doing is exactly what you said. He needs to be the voice of his fighters. The fact that Eddie's up in the video, dancing in the video, producing the video like a puffy is a good thing.
Well, honestly, no, but here's the thing. I'm gonna keep it all the way real on this one. He actually doesn't do that on the nights of the fight. He's not trying to steal the limelight in the interview. He's not even standing behind the fighters during the interviews the way Don King used to give you an example. All right. The time when Eddie's doing all of the talking is usually when his fighters are supposed to be training and he's talking about the fights. He's talking about the business of boxing. He's promoting his fighters.
Yeah. And he's also very good right at the end of the fight when the fighter comes out the ring or when they give you a ringside interview or even sometimes inside the ring and they say, what's your next move? And Eddie is particularly good at that particular interview.
100%. Look, at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If I'm a fighter, whether I'm a prospect, whether I just about to go pro, or whether I'm a world champion, a pound for pound guy, the first call I'm trying to make to do a deal is Eddie Hearn. Second call is probably Top Rank or the PBC.
I mean, here in the UK, Eddie is gold. Look, he has to have some bias to the UK because he's based in the UK. He's established himself from the UK. His father is a kingpin in the UK sporting industry. His father runs the whole snooker industry, which is big here in the UK. Yeah. So he's inherited, he's inherited his acumen from his father. And therefore, the fact that we are biased towards Eddie is not unusual. But what he has done, he's established himself as an avenue for wealth gathering in the UK in the boxing industry. When you see fight programs in the US from Matchroom, you're missing out on what he's doing, small hall shows in the UK, fights in Spain, fights in Italy, fights in France. He's all over the place.
Fights in Wales. We got coming up with
Ogawa.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's putting these guys on a platform, the zone, that, by the way, like Leonard Ellerbe seems to think that this is a failed business idea, like it's a failing.
I mean, you guys might not know these names, but he has like Galal Yofai. He has he's got the brother of your fight. He's just started off on his road from winning.
Your fight.
Yeah, from winning a gold medal in the Olympics. So when you say like, oh, who has he got from bottom and build up? Well, hang on a second. This guy, his roster is ridiculous.
From the bottom build up. What about AJ?
Yeah, his roster is ridiculous.
AJ turned pro with Matchroom, just like Wilder turned pro with the PBC.
Yeah.
But again, here's my question: who has Mayweather Promotions actually developed other than Tank Davis? Nobody.
Nope.
Nobody. Not a single person. And actually, if you want to keep it real, fighter after fighter after fighter leave Mayweather Promotions.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Beginning with like Jesse Vargas way back when, I mean, they're not a serious player in the sport of boxing. They're just not. So that's it. That's what I wanted to cook on, fam. Any last words?
No, I appreciate you as always, bro.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Bregin, and want everybody to make sure that they check out The Breakdown. The Breakdown with my brother Tony, a.k.a. The Pugilist, and my brethren, Bass the Kid. You could catch them on the Undefeated podcast. If you don't know about that podcast, you got to make sure you know about it because they do Monday Night Smoke, or they got their own podcast, and then they also do Tony's show, The Breakdown, which is a great show. By the way, I really enjoyed it, the last one that you guys did. I was there live for the whole thing. Great episode. Great episode. All right, thank you, Tony.
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll
see you later.
So that was Tony. Thank you, Tony, for coming on out of the UK. I know it's very late over there, and it's about to be evening time over here where I am in New York City. So I'm about to get up out of here. But look, as I said, I'm just going to give you the thesis. Thesis statement: Ellerbe doesn't have any kind of track record to be talking about any other promoter. Definitely not Eddie Hearn. Oh, can't go just yet because I got my brother Philly Irish up in here. Philly, what's good?
What's up, Maestro? How you doing?
Can't complain, bro. Can't complain. I'm here cooking with Philly. So, serve me up one of those vegan Philly steaks, bro.
All right. I don't know, promoters are different promoters and everything with the same bullshit and everything. To me, I don't have a favorite promoter because at the end of the day, they're all bullshit, one way or another, to me. But like Heyman is is differently because Heyman's fighters fight once a year mostly, and like if people look at it, Eddie Hearn normally has these guys back every 5 or 6 months fighting, especially the guys that he's trying to build and everything, build the resumes up and everything to get bigger fights. But I don't know. I really think the game is really damaged. That's why boxing is in the position it's always been in for a while. Promoters don't want to work with one another. They want to diss one another. But no. And I really just look at it like this. Eddie Hearn can be a good promoter, but he caters to, if you look at it, some fighters that really isn't with him all the way. Like, let's say Canelo. He's not with him all the way like that. Like, he's not promoted exclusively by Matchroom. But when it comes to Eddie Hearn's fighters, it looked like that he's more favorable Canelo than trying to get his fighter a fight with him. Like, let's say when he was promoting Andre, he could have easily got Andre that fight with Canelo. Even put it on that 3-fight plan with Canelo.
But what if Canelo didn't want it? Because it was mostly Canelo out there saying, you're a horrible fighter. Get the fuck out of here. I don't think Canelo actually wanted that fight.
And that's the other thing. If people don't want to say it like that, I kind of consider that a duck that he didn't want the Andre fight. Because that probably didn't, his style probably did not suit him.
I mean, I'm sure Eddie Reynoso made that clear to him. I don't think that was a good stylistic matchup for him either.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you can really blame Eddie Hearn for the fact that Canelo refused to entertain that fight. But my whole thing is, even if you do want to say, we can all be critical of every promotional outfit, the PBC, Top Rank, and Eddie Hearn Matchroom. But I mean, Mayweather Promotions, I mean, they're not even in the conversation, bro.
That's why I didn't talk about him.
But that's who Leonard Ellerbe represents.
Yeah, that's the thing. But Al Heyman also puts money in the Mayweather Promotion pockets and everything. But the problem with Mayweather Promotion is Mayweather there's a couple problems. One, there's only one fighter mainly on that promotional stable. Two, he promotes him as he's promoting himself later on in his career. Fighting, if it makes sense business-wise, he'll take it. And he'll fight guys that are already exposed, easy to beat out of their prime and everything. Like Gamboa, out of his prime, already shot, and figure use him as a name on your resume.
Yeah.
And it really turned out to be not that good of a look, because Gamboa actually went almost 12 rounds on a torn Achilles against Tank.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look. And the problem to me that I have in terms of managing and guiding and matchmaking for Tank this way is that it's going to be a big jump when he actually takes on somebody at the elite level, because he's been feeding off of guys that really have no business fighting at the world championship level. And I guess that's because he doesn't actually have a legit world title. But look, let me put it to you this way, and I'll ask you this last question because then I got to go. I mean, what is Mayweather Promotions without Tank Davis? If Tank Davis leaves, what the hell is Mayweather Promotions?
That's a good question. What is it?
They're nothing at this point.
Like they had Worley on there, and then they just let him go and everything, and let him be promoted by PBC. So
there you go. No, Talk Trends, you're absolutely wrong. I actually would like to see Boo Boo signing with the PBC, because there are more fights for him out there. You got guys at 160. He could fight even Arislandi Lara. He's at 160. You got Jamal Charlo. He's at 160. And then at 168, you've got David Morrell Jr., and you've got David Benavidez, and you've got Caleb Plant. So I actually think that would be a great win for Boo Boo signing with the PBC. 100%.
But you got to look at it like this, Maestro. I don't think he still doesn't get the fights signed with the PBC, because Charlo, they still ain't gonna have Charlo fight him, because Charlo gonna try to do anything to avoid him, and like they're gonna match him up with the same opposition as they matching Benavidez and Morrell. So
there you go, Philly. I got a request, so I'm going to try to honor it here from Ricky Ricardo. He wants me to play this.
People, it's hard to win rounds. I think the Cambosos fight, we're near that type of money spent over what was an 8-year deal. But he probably doesn't understand these kind of things. I think it's good, Andy. Like, at the end of the day, that was Showtime boxing. That was a full 7 minutes talking about me. So whilst I can add so much to Leonard, and give him so much, he can help me in America as well by doing things like that. So, if you look at it, and actually this isn't sarcastic, a lot of things I say is sarcastic, but if you think about it, I don't know, 100 times bigger than Leonard, right? But he does have that platform in America as well, a good platform in Showtime, to give me exposure, which he's doing. And I can give him exposure over here.
Very true.
But I don't think he sees it like that. Like, I see that interview, I go, wow, 7 minutes talking about me. And Showtime don't really like me either, but that was great. It was everywhere. So I don't really look at the content of what was said, because there's a lot of bluster. And, he talks about, Canelo Alvarez he's been ruined on DAZN in that last fight. Canelo Alvarez has boxed on DAZN for the last 3 years. He had one fight off. If you look at Forbes list, if you look at the earnings list, this guy is one of the biggest earning sports stars in the world. People talk about pay-per-view numbers. Canelo against Bivol did over 600,000 buys, yet Canelo Plant did 700,000 buys, which was a much bigger fight for the undisputed. Yet the Canelo Bivol numbers, people just want to make up. Speak to DAZN. They'll tell you. It was a huge success. And now we're going to the Triple G fight. So ask Canelo Alvarez if he thinks DAZN hasn't been very positive for him. So let's see the pay-per-view numbers for Tank. What he does when he fought Isaac Cruz. 70,000, 80,000, even if it was 100,000. What, you think that's good? 100,000 people tuning in to watch one of the biggest stars in the sport? So I hear a lot of rubbish, but I don't really take it personally, because at the end of the day, all talk is good talk. And if he wants to carry on threatening me, telling me he wants to stomp me out, we'll see.
He said the beef between the pair of you started a few years back when you touched on something very personal to him, and then he called you. Did that happen? Do you know what he's referring to?
He's never called me. Once, someone passed me a phone and said, I've got Leonard Ellerbe on the phone here. I was in New York at a Triple G workout, and I said, hello, Leonard. And he said, hey, man, you talk getting personal about me, blah, 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 blah. I know people in New York. You better watch yourself. And I went, do me a favor. When we had a little shout at each other, and that was it. It's the only time I've ever spoke to him in my life. Oh, Badu Jack fight, probably just sort of with James DeGale. I've no idea what he's talking about. He can either phone me or he can come see me, and he can tell me what the thing that I said that was so personal was. He just gets a little bit confused with this soap opera boxing and personal stuff. It's a bit of a different mentality. But he would say, well, it's not a soap opera, man. It is for me, because I have no feelings towards this man. I'm just using him for a bit of fun, bit of publicity in America. And he should use me as well, because I can help him. I can help him get bigger.
Right, the part Ricky
you said
Ricardo's
you don't agree with him
coming
calling you
up.
the biggest clown in the sport. Who is the biggest clown in the sport?
Oh, mate, this game.
Except for me, who is the biggest clown?
No, but, you know, there's no barriers to enter in boxing, right? So anyone, you, tomorrow, could become a manager or a promoter. Anyone can. So in a lot of instances, people who don't have the ability or the mind or the skills
I'm gonna fast forward
to perform
right to it.
corporation, if people don't like, when I did the same thing and just let people, to the best of my ability,
and stuff like that, I
sell out Madison September.
You seen Rick Merigian's tweet?
Oh shit! I think I got the wrong video.
We excuse,
which is
book, better chance.
Something else.
That never happened, did it? He has to win well, I think.
Yeah, my fault, Ricky. I got the wrong video there. I'm guessing that it was another one. I'll have to bring that one up on another live. But there was a video with him singing, and it was pretty fucking funny. I'm not gonna lie, but I didn't have it queued up, and I don't know which video it actually was. So I'm gonna leave it at that. If it wasn't, it might have been the IFL one. Let me just see real quick. But
and by the way, against opportunities.
Yeah, my fault, Ricky. I'll try to get it for you next time. But Philly, thank you for coming on, bro.
No problem.
Let everybody know about the shoe shine, dog.
Come on Monday night, Shoe Shine Boxing on YouTube with me and Dave from the 408. And hopefully everybody comes by. I know it's late. It comes on late as hell, but I'm up. I gotta get up at 6 the next day. So everybody.
And you got your Twitch, you got your Instagram, you got your YouTube, right? I mean your Twitter.
Well, my Twitch is Philly. I was Drew Evil. My Twitter is Drew Evil. My Instagram is Drew Evil.
There you go. Thank you, Drew Evil. Appreciate it, bro. All right. Yeah, my fault, Ricky Ricardo. I didn't have that shit lined up. I know I saw it. I thought it was in that interview with Boxing Social, but it might have been the one with IFL. I'll try to pull that up. And I don't know if my brother K.O. Kenny has seen it, so maybe we'll do a Kenny Reacts to that one. By the way, Kenny, drop the link to your channel, please. Make sure everybody knows about it. I'm going to get going now. All right, but make sure you subscribe to K.O. Kenny, Knocked Out by Kenny, for the real boxing talk, no cap boxing. But that is it for me, guys. I'm out of here. Got to get going. You guys take care.
All right. I hear you, B. I hear you, B. Shit was all right, you know what I'm saying? All right. Hey, nigga, Pete, though. If you SBA pay, you call me Young Repo, Old Debo. You can rapidly move your feet, so. But nigga, what's graphics to a cheat code? You know that Garrett's ain't for the hood. Turn your cheetah into Cheetos. Flaming, nigga think he banging. I make you take your chain out of places you should tuck your chain in. But Lou, you can get it back if you pay him. I make you Smith a will if you ever think about Jaden. Quit the parading, lighten up like Raiden. Act your age, stop acting like you Asian. Talking like a shaman. Make this trip short like a ride around the Caymans. All that shit you saying. This nigga acting like he was balling out in Chrome Hearts. Came out with a bag smaller than some phone parts. Fuck out of here.